Oh, okay, now this is new too. I don't think I've ever taught this before. What can go wrong, right? You're doing a dynamic programming, your new problem. You think I can do dynamic programming on it, and the dynamic programming doesn't work. So I had a different weird example where it didn't work, and when I made up these new slides, I brought it into this example so it relates better. We're not out in the blue. All right. So here we're going to just change this problem just so slightly, and it's not going to work, right? In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if this change makes the problem NP complete. All right, you make it a little harder. You don't need to do much to have an NP complete problem, right? You really don't. All right, so what are we doing? It's the same problem as before. Our instances are these words. Our solution is how to turn each on each line. Our cost before was the sum of the square cubes of the spaces on the end, right? And we're going to add in, hey, dude, I don't want a lot of lines, right? I want it to be neat, but I'm going to reward you to have fewer lines, right? And if I don't square it, then it's like adding 1 to each of these, and it's no big deal, right? But as soon as you make things nonlinear, life becomes ugly, right? You'll see this cube is nonlinear, so you might think that's ugly. Yeah, but it's the sum of cubes, right? It's the cube was inside on the edges. It didn't really hurt us, right? This is a global square, right? It's you do a sum and then you square it, right? All right, so let's see what happens, what goes wrong, right? So this is kind of what we did before, right? And we added this in, and what's happening here? I don't see anything coming. Oh, here I am. So what I added in is, okay, we have 1 line there, so we're kind of squaring it. Here we have 2 lines, so we're squaring it. 3 lines, so we're squaring it. Yeah, is that right? We don't want 1 squared plus 2 squared plus 3 squared. We only want 3 squared, right? All right, well, that's not a big deal. That was just a warm up to see what's going wrong. We want to get rid of those, but we can easily fix that by having this weight be 1 squared and then this weight be 2 squared minus 1 squared, right? 3 squared minus 2 squared. So the sum of them is 3 squared, right? That seems like we're doing fine so far, right? Okay, now I told you we need what's known as an optimal substructure, right? And one of the things that we need is that, remember, we need that the past and the future are all independent of each other, right? And specifically here, we need that the weight of that edge is independent of the past, right? So, actually, I remember where this is going. Don't panic. We're going to fix this problem. This isn't NP complete. We're going to come up with a polytime algorithm for it, but it'll just be slower. All right, so here we want, as I said, we want to separate past and future. Do I got here? We got past and future. We want to separate, and we want to separate, and the weight of this edge can't depend on your solution from the past, right? Everybody buy that? And does the weight of this edge depend on your past? Yes, right, it does, right? The 8, right, going from here to here, we were putting a certain number of words on 1 line, and so it was the number of spaces that it was specific words we were putting on the line, right? We're going from the fourth word to the 6th word. So specific words, we knew the specific number of spaces at the end. We could cube that. We knew that, right? But here, this 2 squared requires us to know that this is the second line. Requires us to know how many lines we've used before, and we don't know that. Right? Everybody see that? That's the problem. And all right. So actually, I might have other slides where we show that things go wrong more seriously. This one we're going to fix. All right. So let's go back to remember this guy. I told you he's on the front line. He knows what happened in the past. Right? He's the frontline worker, like at CAMH on the street, right? He knows what's going on. Trudeau doesn't know what's going on, right? You gotta tell him as much as he needs to know to continue, right? You have to say, dude, we need more beds, we need more places for people to live, right? All right, so what do we need to tell him? Well, we do need to, before we didn't tell him how many lines were printed on before, right? And now we need to know that, right? Does that make sense? So all we're going to change to solve the problem is we're going to tell Pooh Bear not just which word he's working on, we're also going to tell him which line he's working on, right? And there you go. Right? Now, remember I told you that some subinstances are indexed by an I and a J. Here we go, right? What is this subinstance right here? Means I'm ready to print on the third line, and I'm ready to print the fourth word on the third line, right? Does that make sense? So, and here, why is the first word's by itself? Because, well, I haven't printed any lines yet, right? All right, so then we fill in all the edges, right? So here he says I'm printing 3 words on the first line, right? And then I'm printing 2 words on the next line, 2 words, and then I'm done, right? So that's kind of a path through this, our game of life that might happen, right? Everybody buy that? And so let's look at the cost of these edges, right? So this first line, this is the solution. You go ba 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 ba. Now you have a solution, right? Remember, every solution is a path through the graph, and so this is a path through the graph. It's a solution, and here's the solution. What is the cost of the solution? Well, there's 1 cubed, so we put the 1 cubed there. Here's 2 cubed, we put that there. Here's 3 cubed, we put that there. It's just 1, 2, 3. That was random. Don't expect that to mean something, right? Everybody go to that. And now that's the 36, and that's our path length. That's what we did before. But now we want to add on the number of lines cubed, right? Squared. Thank you. Never believe anything I'm saying. It's because I'm testing you. Right. I'm testing my I'm Englishly challenged. One of the words I always have a hard time saying is Alzheimer's. It's a hard word to say. Was that okay? Well, I'm working on that too, right? All right, so where should we put that number of lines cubed? We want to put it on one of our edges. Which edge? Or do we distribute it through the edges? What we did before on this, remember I distributed through the edges. But where would be an easier place to put it? On the last edge, right? That last edge knows how many words how many lines there were, right? So let's do that. Everybody go to that? And that, my friends, is the answer, right? So we have a 2-dimensional table, right? And then we do a reduction just like we did before. Right now we have our new problem. We reduce it to this graph. This graph finds us a path, and we have the best solution. Everybody kind of follow that? And what's the running time? Number of edges, the number of states times the degree. Oops, that number of words, this wasn't supposed to come out later, right? Here it's the number of words times, right here. Oh, how many states are there? Number of states is the number of words times the number of lines that you're going to print, right? That's the number of states. How many, and what's the bird's answer is how many words fit on each line, right? So I don't know how I got this cubed. I guess, line times word per line is words. Very good, right? All right, see what I can do at 2 in the morning when I'm making slides? Sometimes I'm thinking. All right, everybody good with that? And I don't give you the code, but you know it's the same code. The only thing you would change is instead of looping over I, you would loop over IJ, right? And it's a little trickier. Let me tell you something a little trickier. When you're looping over this, you want to do them in an order. I mean, you could do it row wise or this wise or diagonal wise, right? There are various ways of doing it. And the key is what I do is I'm standing on a node and think about who are my friends, right? And I just do it in an order such that my friends have been solved when I need to be solved, right? So probably if you just whip through here row by row, it would be fine, right? Actually, probably if you rip here column by column, it would be fine, right? This one, I don't think you can go wrong. Sometimes it's tricky, right? But I don't think it's tricky here. All right, so everybody good with that? Oh, let me tell you one thing I was me off yesterday. You know that new program where we're putting the starts with PA, we're putting the slides, the videos, has a new editor, and I just couldn't get it to work, but I think I'm figuring it out. One thing it gives you, which I don't think it gives it to you until I push some button, but it gives you a table of contents. Have you seen the table of contents yet? No? Yeah? And I'm changing the table of contents from what it made up to new things, and I made a new directory called edited, and I'll put them there, and it might help you when you're finding what you're studying. And I'll try to get it done tomorrow because you have a test coming up on Friday.